Thank you, Professor Robson, for introduction. I have one thing to maybe to confess. I am a person who do not like to use the slide in my presenting philosophical idea. So this is the first time for me to use the slides. So the thing that I would like to do is I would like to talk first, and after I have finished my talk, I would show you what I have written in my slide, okay? If you have noticed, you would see that my workplace is the Center for Buddhist Study. I think the word Buddhist study may have the different meanings. I would like to start with the meaning that we have understood in Thailand. In Thailand, the word Buddhist study means the study of the teaching of Buddhism according to the three branches of philosophy, which are metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. And the thing that we have found is that when we look at the teaching of Buddhism in terms of philosophy, for example, in terms of metaphysics, we could find something which is interesting. For example, in Buddhist metaphysics, it seems that there is a thing that would be called the contradiction in the teaching of the Buddha. For example, one time a philosopher came to the Buddha and said to him that, "Sir, according to me, the body and the mind are one thing. What do you think?" The Buddha was silent. And another day, there was another philosopher coming to the Buddha and saying to him that, "Sir, according to me, the body is one thing and the mind is another thing. What do you think?" The Buddha was silent. How to understand the position of the Buddha about these two philosophical positions? I think the person who believes that the body and the mind are the same thing could be called the monist in philosophy. And the example of the monism, which everyone may know, is naturalism. So it seems that from the text, it seems that the Buddha does not endorse or support materialism. And in the same way, the idea that the body is one thing and the mind is another thing could be called the dualist position. And from the position of the Buddha is that the Buddha also does not endorse dualism. Yesterday, I think we talked about the source from the Vinaya that one time a monk gave an abortion to the woman, and the Buddha said to him that you violate the serious wrongdoing according to my teaching. The abortion, according to the Buddha, is the killing of human being. And in the text, they said that when three things come together, which are the father, the mother, and the Kandaba, come together. The thing called the human being is happening in the womb of the mother. From the interpretation of some scholar, and this source seems to endorse the dualist position. And this is the example of the contradiction in the Buddhist metaphysics. I think in the Abhidhamma philosophy, which developed later the death of the Buddha, we talk about the composition of human being. We said that the human being is consists of the mind and the body. This is the dualist position in Buddhist metaphysics. So I think the study of Buddhist metaphysics lead to the more and more consideration and more interpretation that how to understand the teaching of the Buddha and how to apply that understanding to solve the problem in the world. And the second thing that I would like to talk is a thing that I would like to call the Buddhist ethics. And my talk today would focus on Buddhist ethics. According to me, there are two kinds of ethics. The first one I would like to call the ethics for the individual. The example of this kind of ethics is the ethics of the German thinker Immanuel Kant. According to Kant, the good thing is the thing that we have done from the basis of the good will or the good reason. So if you need to know what the thing that you are going to do is good or bad, question yourself, what is the thing which is the basis of your action? It is emotion or reason. If the basis of your action is emotion, it necessarily not necessarily the good thing, but if the basis of your action is reason, that is the good thing. And note that when Kant talk about the good and the bad thing, he means the good and the bad thing of the action of the individual. And I think when we study Buddhist ethics, it seems that most of Buddhist scholars in the world understand that the thing that given by the Buddha in his teaching can be called the ethics for the individual. When we question what is the good thing according to Buddhist teaching, we said that the good thing is the action which come from good intention. If you need to know what I am going to do is good or bad, question yourself, it based on the good intention or not. Another kind of ethics, in my opinion, is the ethic for the society. And the example of this kind of ethics is the ethics of the British philosopher John Stuart Mill. According to Mill, the good action is the one that promotes the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people in the society. And note that when Mill talk about good and bad, he does not mean good and bad in the action of the individual. He means good or bad for the society. And the good thing for him is the action of the state that promote the greatest number of happiness for the greatest number of people. I turn to Buddhist ethics. Some years ago, I read the book written by some Western Buddhist scholar. He said that there is no such a thing which is called social ethics in Buddhism. For him, when the Buddha teach that the killing of people is the bad thing, the Buddha does not mean that the killing is violate the right of other people, but the killing cause some bad nature in the mind of the killer. So the killing is bad. Looking from this perspective is based on the ethics for the individual. I do not agree with these scholars. And in my research, as I have written in one of my books, Buddhism and Ethical Problem, Buddhist view on prostitution, abortion, and mercy killing, I have argued that there can be a thing called social ethics in Buddhist philosophy, but the thing that we have to do is more difficult than to do the ethics on the perspective of the individual. Today, I would like to talk about the social ethics of Buddhism. And I think when we talk about the way to deal with the bioethical problem, we could consider the thing from the basis of social philosophy. I would like to start with my first assumption. I think we can interpret the teaching of the Buddha in various ways, and in my presentation today, I would like to interpret the teaching of the Buddha through two perspectives. The first one is I would like to call Buddhist humanism, and the second one is Buddhist naturalism. What I mean by Buddhist humanism is that I think the teaching of the Buddha can be interpreted to be based on at least two principles. The first one is that according to Buddhism, we are born as the free being. And I have argued somewhere that if we were not born as a free being, the attaining of nirvana is not possible. So the first thing which support the thing that I call Buddhist humanism is that according to the Buddha, we are born as the free being. This is the first principle. And the second principle is that the society must support the person to exercise their freedom to search for the thing which they consider the best thing for them to do. I would like to give some example. Some years ago in Thailand, abortion is not legal. But now, last year, abortion in Thailand is legal. Long time before that, when we talk about abortion, there are two groups of the Buddhists in Thailand. The first group I would like to call the conservative Buddhists, and the second group I would like to call the liberal Buddhists. According to conservative Buddhists, it is very clear that in the text, the Buddha said that abortion is the killing of human beings. This is not the problem. And they said that if the thing denied by the Buddha as the bad thing, such a thing should not be allowed by the law of the society. So, in the view of the conservative Buddhists in Thailand, abortion cannot be legal because it is against the teaching of the Buddha. The second group of Buddhists in Thailand, which are the liberal Buddhists, argue that we accept that in the text, abortion has been considered as the killing of human beings. We have the problem with this. So we accept that abortion is the killing of human beings. But the question, should the society allow abortion, is another matter. So you will see that according to conservative Buddhists, they do not distinguish between the ethics for individual and the ethics for the society. So they think that if such a thing is against the teaching of Buddhism, that thing should not be allowed by the law. But according to liberal Buddhists, it could be possible that something which the Buddha said bad can be allowed by the law. And we have so many examples for this. The country needs the army, and the mission of the army is to kill people. But in Buddhist country, the army is the thing that we have allowed. So the debate between these two groups of Buddhists in Thailand end with the victory of the liberal Buddhists. So last year, the government decided to legalize abortion in Thailand for the reason that it is against the teaching of the Buddha. This is not the problem. But we think that person is born as a free being. When the woman needs abortion, the society have to respect her freedom. And for the problem, what do you think about the evil of the abortion taken by the woman? The argument from the liberal Buddhists is that the woman should be responsible for her private or personal action by herself. That is, according to liberal Buddhists, they accept that when a woman takes abortion, the thing that he has done is the evil. But this evil is allowed by the society for the reason that we respect her freedom. But after he gets abortion, she has to be responsible for her personal action. So this is the separation between the individual ethics and the social ethics. I think the Buddhist humanism, when we apply to the study of science, of the scientists today, the thing that we can say is that the scientist is born as the free being. So the society have to respect the freedom of the scientist. So I think in the view of many people in the world, when we look at the thing done by the scientists, they said that it seems that the scientists are doing something which can be compared to the acting as a god or something like that. But according to Buddhist humanism, we look at the scientist as a human being and as a free being. So the Buddhist society must support their freedom to undertake their research. The second principle that I would like to suggest about my talk today is a thing which is called Buddhist naturalism. In Thailand, we have a great Buddhist thinker called Buddhadasa. Buddhadasa suggests that there are three things which are the object of the worship of the Buddhists in the world. The first is the Buddha, and the second is the Dharma, and the third is the Sangha. The meaning of the Buddha and the Sangha have no problem, but we have the problem for the meanings of the Dharma, what the Dharma means. The Buddha said that everything that I teach is called the Dharma. According to Buddhadasa, the word Dharma has 4 meanings. The first meaning is Dharma means natural things. Everything that exists in the universe are called by the Buddhas, the Dharma. So when we look at the sky, the thing that we see in the sky and we do not see in the sky, called by the Buddha, the Dharma, they are natural things. The second meaning of the Dharma is natural law. The universe, according to the teaching of the Buddha, follow some mysterious principle, and this principle is called by the Buddha Dharma. For example, when we do this kind of thing, for example, we have the habit to have the good food, the thing that we have done would bring to the good result. This is the example of the second meanings of the Dharma, which is the law of nature. And the third meaning of Dharma is the obligation of human being to follow the good natural law. Note that according to the Buddha, things which follow the law of nature could be either good or bad. When you have the good food, that would lead to the good result, and if you have the bad food, that would lead to the bad result. Everything follow the law of nature, but something which follow the law of nature is good, and something which follow the law of nature is bad. It is the obligation of human beings to follow the good natural law. And the fourth meaning of the Dhamma, according to Buddhadasa, is the result to happen from the following of the good natural law. I would like to apply Buddhist naturalism for dealing with the application of Buddhist teaching to solve the ethical, bioethical problem. My argument is when we look at the thing done by the scientists, some people would say that something that they have done is unnatural. But according to Buddhist naturalism, anything which is allowed to happen in the universe is called natural. So even the cloning of human being would be called natural according to Buddhist naturalism. So we need to deal with the bioethical problem. I think our argument should not be based on the idea that something which is bad done by the scientists is unnatural. Anything that possible, that allow possible, is natural. And it seems that in the future, we do not know what to happen as the result of the work of the scientists. But the principle of Buddhist naturalism would suggest that if that thing is allowed to happen, that should be called natural thing or natural being. So I would like to show you what I have written in my slide quickly.